POF Revolution range review. This one's a bit different. Coming up next on GBGuns. So, as I'm sure many of you are well aware, the POF Revolution is a completely different firearm. It's not an AR-10, not quite an AR-15. It is AR-15 sized receivers feeding .308, and it's piston operated. So that kind of breaks all the rules. Got a lot of really cool features I went over in the tabletop review. I was really excited to get this out and shoot it. This was a most generous gift from Ms. Tia, who's not here today. We took it out, ran it through our standard set of tests, the multi-mag, going through your P-mag, your hex mag, aluminum mags, IMI mags, all that to see what runs and what doesn't, because, well, it's their receiver. So how well does it line up with the mags that are out there? It ships with a P-mag, also a Duramag steel mag, and the gun kept choking up. It was having issues on the mags. Hopefully I can find that footage. That may have been that we were using cheap old Milsurp 7.62 ammo. Keep in mind that 7.62 by 5.1 is actually lower pressure than .308 Winchester. It was a .308 gun, so that might have been it. We also had some issues with the fitment. It seemed only the metal mags would drop free. That's probably something to do with the Cerakote that's on here, because I've shot these guns before that were just anodized, at least I think they were, in black, and didn't have those issues. So that kind of threw us for a loop, had things a little rough, not your typical range day for GBGuns. Then we got on to our What's for Dinner accuracy test. For those of you who don't know, in What's for Dinner accuracy, we do 10 shots of 5 different loads, 5 shots from 2 different shooters, and we intentionally go outside what the recommended bullet weight would be for a particular twist rate. So, for example, with 223.556, we go as light as 35 grain, as heavy as 77 grain, regardless of twist rate, because some guns just prefer a particular load. We also do 10 shots so that you know what to expect on any given day with that combo. Not a cherry-picked perfect group, not the best we could do, not the worst we could do, but 10 shots from 2 different shooters to give you sort of an average expected performance. That's where things went downhill a little more. So during the accuracy test, we couldn't do any better than, say, 3 inches or so. Not what one would expect out of such a high-end gun, not what I expect out of POF at all as a company. And, well, those of you that follow the channel know that T and I are capable of more than that, so couldn't figure out what was going on. And keep in mind, this is during COVID, when ammo is basically irreplaceable. We shoot the first load, not the greatest group. Okay, that's crazy 125 grain. Insanely light, or rather light for .308. Let's try the next. We went through a mix of high-end and low-end ammunition, trying to give you what to expect with those loads, and all the groups were about the same, around 3 inches or so, kind of all over the place. At this point, we figured we must be having a bad range day, and went home. And later, I started thinking about optic and mount. I was using a known good optic, the Right-On 6-24, but an unknown to me mount. It was one of the Aero Precision super lightweight skinny things. And you think, okay, maybe it can't handle .308 recoil, but this thing kicks too soft. It doesn't kick like an AR-10. Might have just been a fluke, whatever. So I'm back today with 5 more loads. Known good optic. This is the Leupold LRP, and known good mount, a Warren X scale. I've used this combo, these two together, in several tests where we've had good stuff. So we've got known good optic, known good mount, expected or suspected good rifle, and our 5 loads again. We're going to go through light through heavy, but this time I stuck with generally higher end ammunition. We've got Nosler's ballistic tip, 125 grain, a super lightweight load. Then Federal 150 grain copper, that's probably going to be the worst out of these. Remington 168 Match King, some Nosler Match 168, and some SSA, which is by Nosler 175 grain as our heaviest. So we're going to try these 5 loads to see what we get. I'm just going to do a single group of 5 for each of them after verifying my 0 is approximate with some PMC bronze. Not the most accurate stuff out there, but like I said, this is during COVID and every one of these shots is basically irreplaceable ammo. So I'm hoping this turns out better. I might have still some of the footage from our botched range day that I will roll in as well for you to see. We don't cherry pick what we show you. We don't artificially make things fail. For example, trying to clear a gun with a tiny ejection port on the right by leaning it forward or leaning it back and tilting it to the left. We make sure that what we do is proper to the gun and true to you, because we're not paid by anyone. In fact, this gun was bought. So we try to keep it real, but I didn't want to run what happened to us the first time straight out of the gate, because from my experience, and yes, I have been to POF's factory and went to a media event with them, shot all their guns all day, saw one of these things chewing on steel cased ammo all day long on full auto. They gave it a break to cool down every once in a while they reloaded mags, but the gun just ran and ran and ran. I talked to some of my writer friends with Ballistic Magazine, and they're telling me everything they shot was sub MOA, and I believe them, to be honest, as well. So we must have had a bad day. Hopefully today's going to be better. Let's get to it and see how things go. Now, another thing that we tend to show in pretty much every long gun or bench accuracy test is our shot cadence. And we do that so you know if we are rushing a shot or not, if we're spending 20 minutes between shots so that barrel harmonics and the moon can get aligned and all that, or if we're just shooting it like you likely would at the range. And we try to shoot at a regular cadence, a realistic cadence, and we're not exactly pro shooters. So this is going to be the solid copper 150 grain Federal, hopefully a little better than that 125 since it's a little bit heavier. That was much more reasonable. Now, as far as barrel cooling, time off for the gun between loads, you're looking at it. We use the same magazine. And so our pause between shot groups is the time it takes to reload. We let the rifle rest with the bolt lock to the rear. So it is cooling off some, but it's not necessarily going back to cold. If we ever suspect that the gun's temperature is going to be off enough to throw off the group, that's when we give it a break, but we can generally feel how hot or cool the gun is. POF's a little different with this giant heat sink for a barrel nut, plus it's piston driven, so it's not putting hot gases in here. In fact, it's hot to the touch, 15 rounds of 308 in, shot at about the cadence you saw. I'm going to finish up the rest of these groups and then show you guys the results. And this, my friends, is what you call frustration. On the right are 6 shots of that PMC bronze I did just to make sure the 0 was on. Looked good, maybe 1 click right. On the left was the Nosler 125 grain. Safe to say that bullet weight is too light for this rifle, but I was aiming at the top left red square, not the middle. So it hit way low and pretty spread group. So I'm going to paste a clean target over that, and we will continue down the line. Next up is the 150 grain, which shouldn't be so bad. But this kind of thing sometimes can be discouraging. You can see it looks like we even have If I can get to zoom in there, some sideways imprints of those bullets just not being happy. Spinning too slow or too fast or moving too fast. Not sure what it is, but the 125 grain is not a good idea. So I'm going to tape a clean target over there for us to continue our other 4, but I wanted to show you it before covering it up. So how did we do accuracy wise? Well, here's our 150 grain, and this stuff usually doesn't do very well. Actually, it looked fairly decent. Maybe I threw one there. Hard to say, but I'll take that. That's not bad for battle rifle. A Remington match actually did very well. This is 168 grain, and look at that. Not too bad. 2 pairs and 1 off. Could be me, except this is our second time out with this rifle, so I'm getting a little less forgiving. Here's our nozzler. This 168 grain didn't do so hot. We had these 3 here, that guy there, and that one up there. This was shot number 4. Those of you that follow our community page know that shot number 4 is usually the one I throw. But what about that guy? So that was kind of disappointing. And our SSA, this was 175 grain, the heaviest, made that string with a double in there somewhere, because that is 5 and that one belongs over here. So that shot fairly nice. Still not quite the accuracy I was expecting out of the Revolution. So what's my takeaway on the POF Revolution? An incredible battle rifle. Give it that. Very soft shooting. I hope I was able to salvage some of that shooting we did, where I did some fast shooting to show how controllable it is. Very smooth shooter. It really does everything that its champion Frank DeSoma, may he rest in peace, had in mind in providing 308 power in an AR-15 sized platform and AR-15 type controllability, plus some enhancements. It is one hell of a fighting gun. Precision wise, I'm a little disappointed. This was our second run out here. Known good scope, known good mount, known good ammo. The only variable left in this time was the rifle. And those groups are about 1.5 to 2 inches. Is that plenty good enough for anything I'd need it for? Yeah, and it's really good for a battle rifle. I just had expected a little more, thought there might be a little more magic to the thing. So what is it good for? They're not cheap, that's for sure. If you wanted to run heavy metal or whatever they call it these days in the 3-gun games, or in the matches, and run the big calibers, this would be the way to go for sure. The gun is lighter, the recoil is lighter than anything else out there that I know of that shoots 308. So it would let you hammer away 308 with the speed and ease that everyone else does with a regular AR-15. As a go-to-war type gun, fighting gun, reliability wise, from what I've seen when I went and visited them, hell yeah, this thing just runs and runs and runs. In fact, one of the things that we plan on doing is sort of a tribute to what I witnessed there, is run 500 rounds of steel case through it, pausing every 100 rounds to let the barrel cool. We own this gun, we're not gonna wreck it. Sorry, this is an entertainment channel, but we're gonna run 500 rounds of steel case through it, pausing at the 100 to reload mags, let the gun cool, and see how many hiccups we get that aren't ammo related. That's the big variable, of course, with steel cased ammo, is was it bad ammo? So we're gonna run that and then run the accuracy test again. Hopefully barrel will be broken in and hopefully we won't see any degradation. If it does that, then I would say this would be a great fighting gun option. That's POF Revolution, a little bit of a different story than I thought it was gonna be. Let me know what your thoughts are, and hopefully we'll have that next video out soon. Thanks for watching.